Hey girls, just a couple clips from the last game. While it was a resounding victory and not super challenging, especially in the later stages of the game, there's still some things that we, as a staff, look at and want to make sure that we're putting some thought to and learning from in terms of video. So just going to go through some clips here and some build up, attacking scenarios. So I think we think as soon as we get this ball out here, I think we've got to start to realize, what the opponent's defense looks like and what areas they're covering and what areas they're not covering. So, the easiest way is, of course, picking your head up and saying, okay, there's few red shirts here, and then there's zero red shirts on the other side. So I think once we get this ball back, the next stage is, can we get the ball transferred and get switch the point of attack, and especially moving in, to this weekend where the opponent will certainly provide some different challenges. It's important that we at least move the ball a little bit quicker. And I think you could see this player cheating a little bit. And I think we have to be a little bit more confident, not confident, but just more aggressive in playing the ball back to our goalkeeper and maybe stretching out the opponent a little bit more often. Very similar here, as we get the ball switched over, that's great. And I think is, as opposed to skipping this in terms of the build up, which we can do sometimes, we want to also look at their opponents and see, where are their opponents, and if we pass the ball, into Krista here, if we give her the ball there, what do those opponents actually do, and then does it give her more time and space to be able to play to Alexia on the left side there, and instead of, forcing in that scenario. Again, once we get the ball out wide here, there's a little bit of time and space to be able to get the ball switched over to that side there. And Reagan does an excellent action to do so. But the other side of it is, if she's not going to switch the ball, can we break the line into somebody's feet here? And right here, we don't really have any midfielders that are available with their opponent on their back. So, the best idea might be to just play it into the other side, instead of trying to get it into a 50-50 challenge. Again, great regain mentality. Like I said, it was a big win for us in terms of the amount of goals we scored. So that's great. But it's also just important to take a look at the things where we might have struggled a bit. At corners, big five moments. Are something to look at, of course. So as they get the ball out into this space here, we if we're not going to win that ball, we probably have to be able to absorb it a little. Let me back up just a bit. So if we're not going to be able to win this ball, rather than coming up to them here, and creating a 1v1 with our center back, it might be a better idea to just kind of absorb, or if you're going to go to her, slow her down. Unfortunately, couldn't do it, and we're able to get numbers back, which is good. But we're still, if you look at the numbers, 3v2. So can we end it a little bit quicker here? And that's the idea. So again, just trying to find some things to make sure that we're, taking a look at. That's a corner kick against an opponent. Against any opponent, you give them an opportunity to get a jailbreak on you. It's definitely concerning. Don't mind the build up and attacking scenarios. This is more of a defensive shape issue. Good cover. And then I think that's the idea there, Ella, where, yes, if we can play her feet, that's fantastic. But if we look at all of their density, you can see that they have all their players within 35, 40 yards of each other. So now we have to transition to defend. So instead of maybe keeping the ball here, oops, instead of maybe keeping the ball here and getting a big shape and spreading them out, you know, now we're dealing with a transition moment where two backs are on this side, two backs are on this side. If this player here has a lot more pace and is able to get in behind, we could be in a lot of trouble. So just recognizing the moments when we should go forward, and good cover from Krista there, and good step from Ella. As we pass this ball back, we probably, instead of putting her right back where it came from, we want to start to think about getting the ball and going the other direction. There's Addison there. Not a big deal, but again, that's not the coaching point there. What's the issue that we have here is you can see how expansive our shape is when you look at our back line, and if there's a loss of possession, that's a lot of ground to cover. Yes, so again, as you get this ball here, Addison, can you find a player that has a little bit more time and space? Maybe that's it's a little nervy to play there. Maybe we can hit the ball deep and squeeze up our back line. But once we're in this big shape here, possession has to be kept. So maybe it's on a, coming back to help out a little bit. But once we lose this, we're kind of busted. Um, and fortunately for us, the opponent wasn't able to get it under control. So it's really important to just recognize when we're in that big shape. Again, look at how expansive we are as a team. Look at where all they are as defenders. Everybody on their team except for one is here on top of the 18. So the wide area is what we want to do, what we want to try and accomplish here. So before the tackle happens, there are plenty of options for us to, bounce back. Could we turn and play into that area there? Because we certainly have the ability to do it, but now we've got, our outside back is caught, and now everybody's on, kind of like a sprint back to get back. So again, is it the end of the world? Did they score on it? No, but it's the habits and thinking about it that when we are playing an opponent that can punish us a little bit more, we want to make sure that we're at least aware of what's going on, and always thinking as a back four and maybe the 6 and the 8, always thinking what will happen if we lose the ball, like where are we going to have to run if we lose the ball. So just a quick one here. And when we get that entry pass into a midfield, right now we have all of our midfielders in kind of a straight line, and we want to make sure we give an option, whether it's getting in behind there or once that ball is passed, getting in behind them there, because now we still have a straight line. So if one of us can either take the opponent with us, or if that opponent stays there, now maybe we can play a pass through, and it's just that idea of not being on the same line. And it looked like Madison started to do it, but it was a little bit too late. And now we're out of possession. I think that was Michaela. But that transition moment is tough. Again, if we go back to it, look at how our back four looks when we have possession of the ball. This is our back four, really expansive. Look at the numbers that they have. If they win it, it's a counter situation that we really don't want to be in on a regular basis. Big ball from the back. Are we ready for it? Should Krista here, Anna, if that's you, obviously Erica, when you're back, once the flight of the ball, once the ball is kicked, we want to make sure that we have coverage over here and over here. So we want to slide over a little bit quicker to make sure we don't have this gap in between center backs. And again, just little habits, nothing pressing about that situation. It's more of a positional idea. Like when we have that situation occur, the ball is punted or the ball is hit, can we not be so spread out? Again, the long ball comes. Are we spread out? Are they able to get a free ball? One more time. Just she's free. There's no pressure on the ball. This player here is wide open and she's able to get on the ball. So we want to make sure at least we're stepped up to challenge and then covered. And then as the ball is traveling in the air, can we get back and cover just like we do, pregame warm up? Defensive shape. So not bad in terms of having our forwards up or our higher players up on the line. What's happening next is there's a little bit of a gap in between, this midfielder and our back line. So I understand that if they're about to kick a long ball, that then we have to deal with it. But they had shown that they were going to play short. So if these forwards are pressing, we want to make sure that also our midfield and our back line are also pressing, because you can see how there's a lot of gaps here for them to be able to play. And we want to make sure, like, once the ball goes out there, can we get in behind the ball a little bit more to help and not give them an opportunity here to create numbers up. And challenge the ball. This is good here, 2v1. A little bit of a problem here that this player is able to get forward. Midfield is a little too high as well. But again, you can see all of this starts from just having a huge defensive shape from one to the other, from forward to the center backs or forward to the goalkeepers. So after a couple goals scored, and again, these are just, I don't even know what the score is at this point, but we score a goal and we've got to really continue to have the mentality, regardless of what the score is. We've got to have the mentality. There's no pressure on the ball there. It's a free run in, and we're just not ready for it. And I'm not sure. I think it was 2-0 or maybe it was 3-0. But if they get back 2-1, right away, that could be a little bit of a problem for us. And it depends on the opponent, of course. But this is another big five, just in nothing serious. But if we lose the ball here right after we score, again, look at our shape, look how expanded we are, and now they're running right at us and trying to get something out of it. So again, when you beat a team in double digits, it's difficult to find coaching points at times. But I think what we found here was a little bit on the speed of our possession and where we're playing the ball against a team that sits deep, and then also making sure that our back line is shifting at the right time when the opponent is looking to hit a long ball or when they're in their attack. So hopefully it's helpful. Take a look. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.